Well, good morning, Deepak. And today we have gathered for the second episode of KPC Conversations. What I thought of today's topic is about cloud accounting, something that we have both worked on and helped some clients. Just wanted to capture the learnings that we have had across it and also educate people about how cloud accounting works, how is it different than traditional accounting software versus ERP, and all the nuances around it, right? So before we jump into the topic, let's introduce ourselves. So I'll ask you first to go.
Good morning and thank you for having me. My name is Deepak Gidwani and I'm a working professional having more than 10 years of experience in accounting and finalization and taxation. I have been associated with KPC since more than 2 years and I am heading the consulting department here, and we have been working on implementing the systems, cloud accounting softwares for various clients. And I'm happy to be the part of this podcast.
Well, great. So I think we'll start with some basic questions and a difficult one, right? First, I've always wondered about what's the difference between accounting and bookkeeping. Means there are two words, but what's the difference between the two? What, as per you, is bookkeeping and what is accounting?
Yeah, I would, in my opinion, bookkeeping would be the transactional part which we are doing or the accountants are doing for the organization. Basically, I would say it would be more concerned about the data entry of the entries, the regular entries that the regular operations are being carried out by the organization. Basically, it's a lower level management part which the accountants do, and accounting would be concerned with the financial management of the transactions that have been recorded while bookkeeping. It would basically includes the reports, say profit and loss account, balance sheet, debtors aging, etc., etc. So there is a thin line difference between bookkeeping and accounting, but yeah, they are both a different thing. Yeah.
So if you were to just look at it, more of data entry is towards bookkeeping and more
Yeah,
of
correct.
finalization part of
Yes,
accounting is towards accounting
correct,
per
correct,
se.
correct.
Good. So with that, the second question would be, what is the difference between an accounting software and an ERP, which is an enterprise resource planning software? So if we were to just understand that most of the famous cloud accounting software, they label them as ERP or as cloud accounting software. But what is the difference between an accounting software and an ERP?
See, I would say accounting software, as I said, is a more concerned with the financial management part, which the organization is looking after. But ERP would include a complete package that would include several other services that are included. I would say that would be CRM, HR management, people's management, other reports, inventory management for that matter. So again, ERP is a tree under which we can say there is an accounting software. So accounting software can be, we can say it's a subset of an ERP package.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think ERP is a much wider sense
Yes.
than what an accounting
Correct.
software would be, and ERP largely would have an accounting
Correct.
software as a part of it.
Correct.
So, just were to look at a few things. How do you see the new age cloud accounting apps? There are so many cloud accounting apps, which is say Zoho Books, or there's Udo, or there's a lot many others, native language books also, keeping apps. And I think with cloud, language does not remain a problem because of the various APIs and the tech that comes. Changing language of a software in today's world is kind of easy. But with that, what do you see as a let's say the ease of adaptability of these tools, or how would you say is a difference between, let's say, Tally Prime and say Zoho Books or a cloud accounting app? So what would be the prime difference between the two?
See, firstly, I would like to say that with the changing needs of the people and with this tech-enabled environment that we are into, even the accounting firms and many other companies are now going towards the tech-enabled thing that is the need of the hour, we can say. So these cloud-based accounting software have been the need of the hour, I would say, and people are gradually and slowly adapting towards these software. And having said that, there are many other software that are available in the market. That first I would say Zoho Books, then it would be NetSuite by Oracle. Other is so-called QuickBooks, that is basically used for the outsourcing purposes.
Hmm.
So yeah, people are adapting with these software, and dependability on the cloud is becoming more and more, which is a better thing in today's world. It's because of the security concerns and many other things that are there in today's world. See, as far as Tally is concerned, Tally is the legacy of India. And India, if we can say, accounting is equal to Tally. So all the accounting firms, all the companies, and all the accountants are mostly used to this Tally software, which is now being changed. Yeah, I would agree to that. Now, slowly and gradually, people are shifting to a cloud-based software, and Tally is being dropped from the accounting thing. And I think it is better in today's world because, yeah, cloud, again, the dependability on the systems is should decrease, and on the cloud-based software, it should increase. So,
Okay, so my take on this, as when I compare Tally with Zoho or any other cloud accounting software, is that Tally has been an early mover in this country. So a lot of accountants are very much used to Tally, and that's how
right,
it has become a profession
right,
as accountants per se,
correct.
or people earlier they used to be called Munimji, like
Muninji, yeah,
that those people who would write the books of account, and then Tally came in, and those became accountants. And now the prime difference that I see between Tally and all of these cloud accounting apps is the way they are structured. For example, if I were to look at Tally, and if I were to make an expense entry, then I have to go into the voucher kind of category, and then I have to either choose between purchase or bill. And
right,
for a normal person who does not have an accounting background, it's very difficult to kind of just go and understand that how would I make an entry out of this? And then there's to and buy, and debit and credit. And how these cloud accounting software differ from these traditional accounting packages is to make it so easy, who's the customer, who's
right,
the vendor. So the
correct,
first point is that if I go into a cloud accounting app, and I don't have an accounting background, but I go into a cloud accounting app, I want to purchase something. So I know that I am purchasing from a vendor. And if I have to sell something, I'm selling to a customer. So the transaction is very simple. You first add a customer, you transact with the customer. Here, the entire thing is you create a master. That master has to be then chosen as to which category. Is it expense category, asset category, debtor, creditor? So all of those complications are, I think, there in a traditional accounting software, which kind of make a dependability on the accountant per se, whereas these cloud accounting apps are like founder friendly. If a startup techie, kind of just sets up a business and they want to start doing the accounting part of it because it's essential, but they may not want to engage an accountant from day one because they are bootstrapped. So I think for that cadre, it is so easy to just flow into a cloud accounting app because it kind of does not have that difficulty level of even understanding what accounting is, and simplifies it to that extent that it's not
correct,
debit credit, but it is like customer vendor and
exactly,
transactions. So I
exactly.
think for me this is the key difference.
Yeah,
But having said that, let's just look into the statistics of our clients. If we were to look at our client mix and the software that they use, I think uh, disaster recovery, business continuity plan, that ways everybody is cloud enabled and has a backup plus everything into their uh, overall operations and system. So even like if I were to look at our client, I'll say 15 to 20% would be on SAP, 10 odd percent would be on cloud, including and the other mature systems like the Oracle NetSuite or
right,
the Microsoft Business 365.
correct,
Of the remaining 70%, right? I think around 10% would be on cloud accounting apps, and the
right,
rest of the 60% would be on Tally.
correct,
So that that's the market mix, if I were to say, for a mid-size to large accounting firm. And I am looking at, like, we do BSE 500 clients. That's why we are like at that end of the spectrum. But for the larger section of the entire Indian accounting system, I think Tally would have a much higher percentage right
Right.
now.
It is there. Yeah.
Unless you are in a city like Bangalore where everybody is a tech startup and
Correct.
kind of they have adopted the cloud accounting thing. But that's my take on it. Now, what would you say? What are the options in cloud-based accounting? And we both know, right, in a way that cloud accounting is kind of easy to use and it's more youth friendly, if I were to say. So, what all cloud accounting apps are kind of an option that is available?
See, as you said rightly, firstly, I would like to emphasize on the point about Tally and Zoho. See, Tally, I would say, requires a specific training for accountants to get used to.
So
But
for me, it's like kind of, a person
yeah,
is a tally expert, which means
correct,
that he has a position in the chain,
correct.
which,
Yes,
which is kind of also, we'll discuss later on, but it's kind
yeah.
of also an impediment in adaptability of all the
Correct.
other.
But I think the UI which these cloud accounting apps are providing, it is very user friendly. As you said, it is founder friendly, we can say.
Yeah.
So founder usually does not interact with the system. He's just dependent on the accountant. So with these cloud accounting apps, the UI is so much easy to understand. Even a founder can do a basic entry, say we can say a purchase entry and a bank
Mm.
entry, etc., etc. So it is very user friendly. It is not the so-called accounting software that has to be learned in a certain way or that requires a training. So yeah, these are very user-friendly apps. And coming back to the options that cloud accounting apps are given, there are many services. Specifically talking about Zoho, I'm not here to promote Zoho, but yeah, since I'm using this software since more than 2 years, so I am very much happy with the software and the services which Zoho is providing. I would specifically highlight the features that Zoho is providing. It provides Zoho inventory. It provides HR management. It the main feature that is the CRM feature that every organization requires,
Yeah.
and it is very important. See, basically, we would always like to focus on the customers. So unless and until we have a CRM system in place, we will not be able to focus on the thing. So Zoho also provides that, and Zoho Books is always there. It is very, very user friendly. If I were to say how much friendly it is, if I'm recruiting a person today, so even a basic knowledge of accounting, if a person is having, I would say I would have to just explain him the basic things and then let him do the rest of the things. So
So from this talk, what I'm gathering is that Zoho Books is the accounting part
yes,
of the entire Zoho suite of
correct,
applications.
correct,
So it's a catch here that it's kind of entry system for a person to get into Zoho Books.
yes,
But as we both have come to realize, over a period of time,
yes.
the requirements outgrow Zoho Books,
So
and essentially you have to subscribe to additional
yeah,
packs, and then it kind of adds up to the cost of this
correct,
entire thing. Which, so essentially for me also, what I understand is that Tally has a fixed cost,
yes,
so, and a fixed set of features
correct,
also. So let's just put it that way, that there's one application which has a fixed cost and a fixed set of features available, and there's another app which is a cloud accounting app, which kind of keeps on updating at much more frequency,
yes,
gives you more features, but at the same time kind of has a limit at what you can do with your existing subscription, and then kind of upsells like a startup.
yes,
It's like, kind of continuous upselling, that you go from this to this, and now your inventory, so you kind of go from Zoho Books to inventory, then you have kind of expense management, so you go to expense.
Zoho expense, yeah,
I would say expense, books, and inventory is kind of an accounting package itself.
correct,
And then we look at CRM or people,
yeah,
and that all may work as an ERP.
yes,
But even within the accounting realm of things, I think there are three sets, which is books, inventory, and expense, which should essentially be a part of a accounting package.
correct,
But still, that's also separately bundled.
yeah.
So like we'll discuss that also as we go. So what is your, you have a wide experience of Zoho. I know that. So now with that experience, what are the top three features that you choose as, a kind of time saving feature or a good to have feature, that this is something that kind of enables people to choose Zoho as a software? Or let's say these are common features across all cloud accounting apps which are
Correct.
not that common across traditional accounting apps. So what are those features that come to you as a recall?
Having said that, I have an wide experience in Zoho. I have been using Zoho since more than 2.5 years. So the main feature that I would say would be the reports that we get out of Zoho books. So I am talking here from the promoter's point of view, which is very important. So we can get certain reports or very crucial reports on a click of a button. Apart from that, there is a Zoho feature of dashboard. Whenever you open Zoho, we see a dashboard there. So we can have a look on the receivables, payables, and the total sales, net profit till date, etc. And many other that is customizable. So that would be one. Second would be the live connection with the bank. It is a very convenient software that I have been using. And with certain banks, Zoho is directly connected to the banking portal. Just a click of a button, we can do many payments and we can fetch the bank statements. The traditional practice of doing each and every entry with the bank, from matching from the bank, etc., is eliminated. We can just do the bank entries with just a click of a button, and the entry would automatically be posted in the books. The next feature is automation. It being a tech-enabled environment, and we require many types of automation in today's world. So Zoho is catering to that requirements of the organization. Automation in the sense of approving various things, approving expenses. There are certain things which are not in the knowledge of the promoter, but through these automations, not only for the approving, but even the reports, the promoter can see everything on a, even I can say, a mobile app, or approve various things and have a bird's eye view of the things that are going on in the organization. So yeah.
Right. So I think, I like to second that with a one thing that you just mentioned about the mobile app, right? Having a mobile app in today's kind of environment is
Right.
is something that is just essential, I would say.
Yes.
Because if I'm a business owner, I don't want that I can't get a report today because my accountant is on leave.
Correct.
Today what is happening is that out of all the promoters that I interact with, a very few would know how to operate Tally,
Yes.
right? And not many of them have got reporting on their smartphone. There are add-ons and everything available across those software also, but they are kind of not that easy to implement, or kind of they don't just come with the package. They have to be bundled separately, and it's a task. I would say it's a task. So it's better to have a mobile app which gives you all the report at a click of your, at the touch of your finger, even not at a click of a button. So I think that that kind of ease that comes with cloud accounting apps is just tremendous.
Yeah.
And I think all of them offer this because they are kind of based on the web tech, and that kind of enables them to give this as a common feature. For me, one very important thing with Zoho Books is the document management system that comes
Correct.
with it. The two features that I really like about the document management system is the common email address.
Right.
That if you have any person sitting anywhere in the world wanting to do your accounting, they can get access to all the documents that need to be put into Zoho Books through that unique ID. And everybody can be given that ID to push documents to that particular instance of your cloud accounting. And the second thing is to attach everything to the same bill, or, kind of, if you want to move into a paperless environment, that DMS kind of just is so flawless, or kind of just there to support you. And I think that's one great feature. Plus, there are a lot many other things, small tweaks here and there, like reporting tags. It's very similar to cost center feature, but it has a good reportability coming out of it. So as you rightly mentioned, reporting, customizable reports, all of those things are something that comes with it. But again, for everyone's interest, with customizable reports, you need an additional subscription also for analytics. So it's kind of, you have to forget cost when you go to a cloud accounting software, and you have to actually count the benefits and see that those benefits bring you so much value that you are not looking at the cost associated with it.
But in that thing, I would like to say that in today's world, people are a bit much less concerned about the cost that is being going in the accounting software. They are usually concerned with the reports that they are getting or the overview that they can get with a touch of
Yeah, so I think
finger.
if
Yeah.
if the information results
Yes.
into actionables,
Right.
and again that
Then
results
cost is
into
secondary.
benefit, yeah,
Yeah.
the
Then
cost
cost
would
is
obviously be
secondary.
secondary.
Correct.
And it's essentially, I don't see these, say, at least cloud accounting apps, right? We are not comparing cloud accounting apps with the large scale ERPs that exist and on
Yeah.
cloud like SAP or Microsoft.
Right.
We are looking at cloud accounting apps. They are not like so expensive. They are when compared to traditional accounting apps, but overall, as a business, they wouldn't be a big fraction of the total cost of the
Right.
business. So I think, what is your experience when you have implemented so many Zoho books for clients, right? What is your experience of, uh, what are the problems that you face in implementing Zoho books, like migrating from an accounting software to Zoho books? So the questions would be, one is that, is a year end necessary? For example, like if I want to now decide to move into Zoho books, should March 31 be the consideration for me, that, now that March 31 is approaching, or is it indifferent, kind of you can move anytime? The second question would be, what is the resistance that comes into it? Are accountants largely resistant about Zoho books, or are promoters resistant about Zoho books? Because I have seen certain promoters have a question that, I don't want to put my data onto cloud because then anybody can access from anywhere. My accountant can access from anywhere, and whether that kind of brings down the safety, or are there any IP logs or something that's available? And then we just want to understand, what are the other challenges that we face when we kind of implement a cloud accounting app versus a traditional accounting app.
Yeah, so to answer your question, year end would not be necessary, but it is recommendable that the transition happens
So it's always easier, right? If you
always
have
easier.
a
Yeah,
year
it is
end,
very
it's like
convenient
kind of,
for everyone to uh, do the things, do the transition in the year end. So the things become easier after your books are closed. And second thing, resistance would always be there even if you shift. See, as they say that change is the only constant, so the resistance would be there in the if we change the system that has been working through many years in an organization. So the promoters today are usually mentally prepared that they have to transit, and there would be a resistance. And as you said, the accountants are basically set into that format of doing tally and accounting. And basically these are the problem with the middle-aged people that are basically the accountants in the various organizations. So they, yeah, with certain clients I have faced a problem of resistance, and they are not easily convinced to change from existing tally, so-called tally, to Zoho,
any of these
any of these
accounting.
apps. But it is important, and it is necessary in today's world to.
So I think the bigger thing that we are looking at here is that, as you just mentioned, right, that a software has been running for so many years.
Yes.
And then the first question arises as to, why is there a need to move into anything else? To move to that, my take on this is that, sometimes people are just afraid of changing things. Plus, the second thing is that people don't realize what they would be in a position to get unless they explore it, right? Means they are satisfied with what they get from Tally, but they don't know that most of the reports that they are presented with comes from Excel sheets or spreadsheets, and there's a good chance that there may be errors in that report, and
Correct.
essentially it takes some time for them to get the reports. It's not live, but they have now made it a way of life, that
Correct.
if I were to get a receivables report of say 31st of a month, it would naturally take 10th of the next month for it to be ready.
Correct.
Not realizing that essentially it could also happen on the first.
Same.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing, but it just doesn't, it's not a realization that they have had. So kind of it's something that they live with. But that's something that's interesting, and I am definitely sure middle-aged accountants would naturally have resistance to this, because it's kind
That is
of
going to be.
it's kind of putting them into a position where they may not be that relevant going forward,
Yes.
or their replaceability is kind of easier
Yeah.
than what it would have been in a legacy system.
Correct.
So I think we discussed that. So now let's look into what are the control mechanisms, or why would I want to go into a cloud accounting software, and what is the control mechanism that is available to me?
The control mechanism, I would say, is as far as my view is concerned, very strong. See, the basic feature I would like to highlight in the Zoho things is comparing to Tally, is that we can pass any journal entry through any ledger.
So that's in Tally or Zoho?
That's in Tally.
That's in
That's in Tally. But with Zoho, we cannot do any adjustment entries that are not recommended from the accounting point of view, or taken into consideration various accounting standards, or other things that would be there. So this eliminates the loose ends in the software. So yeah, that would be there. Then there are access controls there, as we discussed, that approval system is there. So no X person can do any entry in that, or uh, anything in that.
Hmm.
I'll repeat. So having said that, Zoho has various things that first I would say that audit trail, that is very important in as per the regulatory authorities in this auditing framework. Next I would say there are access controls which are not allowed to any XYZ person in the organization. So for example, if I would say if a certain person is assigned a responsibility to enter the purchase transaction, so he would only be authorized to do that.
Hmm.
So that is an access control which any promoter would want, and that is very important, because any if a sales guy does a purchase entry, so he might manipulate things or any other thing.
Yeah, I think so I think that feature is common across all, but the biggest advantage that cloud accounting apps provide is the ease of implementing it.
Yeah,
A layman can also configure these settings
yeah,
into a cloud accounting app, add a user, configure their rights. It's tick, 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 tick. Against a traditional accounting software where you'll need some assistance, or at least it's not that friendly. Like you just mentioned, when you log into Zoho Books, you see a dashboard.
yeah,
And when you log into a traditional accounting system, you kind of look at a list
yeah,
of things that you want to do.
correct.
And it's kind of those small differences that make the user experience so much better into a cloud accounting app.
Yeah, even from the security point of view, I would say the cloud-based software are more secure. See, for example, in Zoho, we have implemented for certain clients a two-factor authentication. So any person cannot log in into the system
Hmm.
by just having the user ID and password. So yeah, security, I would say in the cloud-based accounting software, security is an important feature, which is the need of every promoter, and it is very important for the organization also.
So I think one unanswered question from the past discussion was whether you could restrict IP of accessing this instance, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah. See, in Zoho, there are many users that we can create and give them required access. So any person cannot access any
So a
module.
promoter who is actually skeptical about going to cloud with the primary reason being data कहीं से भी access हो सकता है.
हाँ,
So
तो वो
that
चीज़ नहीं
guy
होगी इसमें.
can be
Correct.
put to rest, saying
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can
Rest assured.
restrict access to yourself from anywhere in the world, but the rest of them can only access it from within the office.
Yes, yes, correct.
Correct. So I think one very important part that we have analyzed very deep, I remember, is about the preparer and the approver mechanism within at least the Zoho environment. So, one, is there a preparer approver setup in Zoho? Two, are there any shortcomings that are there in that system or something that we know of and you'd like to share?
Yeah, there is a preparer approver, and for that matter, even I would say there is a preparer checker and approver thing feature that in Zoho we
Hmm.
can implement. So it is a very important thing, as you said, that preparer checker is very important because from the point of view of a data entry person and an accountant person, there are different things that are to be looked after. So preparer, approver, and even reviewer for that matter is very important, and it is there in Zoho. So it is a very great feature, I would say. And for the shortcomings that I have faced are the approval flow. Suppose if there is a sales order that has to be created. So sales order would go through the same approval process to which the purchase order is going to. That means there is a single chain in which we can assign the approval flow. We cannot set up a different approval flow for different modules, say sales or purchase, for
So
that matter.
I think there's a module wise configuration. So for example, what happens is if I were to put a purchase request, right? And I am a data entry operator, and then my requirement is that if it is an IT purchase, it goes to my IT head. If it is a stores purchase, it goes to the stores guy. If it is admin purchase, it goes to the admin guy as the second approver, right? That can't be configured. Means it's
Yeah,
the same flow going across all
yes,
the
correct.
categories, right? That's very painful because not as the organization grows, they can't have the same person doing all the roles.
Yes,
They'll require different people doing different roles,
same
and
hierarchy,
yeah,
correct.
and there's a workaround to it. We both know that,
Yeah,
but
so
it comes with an
expense.
extra
Yeah,
subscription, and it's
so
so
expense.
funny about it that you can't actually work on some basic things, and then since yours there are threads on this topic that this is a requested feature, and then there's we are working on it, but they never work on it, and
Yeah,
they kind of, because it's business for them,
correct.
putting extra subscriptions for people to subscribe to and kind of solve the problem, but not within the same ambit of applications that
Yeah,
are there, but push some more. It's like a typical startup, kind of.
yeah,
There's this health startup. What would they do is that they would take your blood tests, right? So if you go for a CBC, before you get your CBC report, they'll upsell you like I don't know how many
and number of
tests.
things.
How many tests they will upsell you. So
Yeah,
upselling in a startup environment is kind of just crazy.
yeah.
They don't stop at what you have come for. You know, they want अरे आप आए तो पहले तो you have to just come here.
Today extra
So
this
now you
this
are
cost.
my lead sale and my cross sell, my
Right.
upsell, my every sale.
Every step. Correct.
So that's kind of very
Yeah.
difficult with
They
these.
are like ये भी ले लो, ये भी ले लो, ये भी है हमारे
It's
पास, ये भी
kind
है
of
हमारे पास.
so it's kind of very startup-y, I
Yeah.
would say, rather than
Yeah, that would be there in every startup, but we have to live with it. So,
to that extent, good old Tally is so much better.
huh,
There's one
that is,
subscription, take it. This is all you need. Now you go for custom APIs, that's a separate thing
that's a
and
separate thing. Yeah.
altogether. But yeah, other
Yeah.
than that. So I think along with automations, there are a lot of outside API connections, webhooks that Zoho Books offers. So I think in the context of India, at least GST is there. So
Yeah.
how's been your experience with integrating the Zoho instance with the GST portal? And
I have been very, very lucky in this thing, implementing Zoho to connecting Zoho to GST. I would say the reconciliation part, the GSTR 1 that has to be filed every 11th of the month, and GSTR 3B, we are currently doing it at a single click of a button. So with certain OTPs, 2 or 3 OTPs, directly the reports are fetched to the GST portal, and then we can file GSTR 3B and 1, and even we can pay the taxes from Zoho only. So that is a very eased up part for us to implement and to
Yeah,
for
I
that.
think
Yeah,
even accountants would be so happy, and
yeah,
kind of, and I know with the bank integration that you
yeah, yeah.
just mentioned, those API
It's a
webhooks
blessing.
that connect,
It's a blessing.
it's just one OTP and bills are
Yeah,
paid.
yeah,
You
it's a
don't
blessing.
need to even log into the bank portal or do
Yeah,
anything. So for
nothing.
solopreneurs, it's like a no-brainer to
No
just
brainer.
get into this, and
Correct, correct.
it's
It's a
kind of,
blessing.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so. That being said, what are the biggest pain points that you have had with a cloud accounting app? It's specifically, we'll focus on Zoho, but what are the pain points that you have had?
See, we discussed about the transition that is always there. Other things that people are concerned is the dependability on the internet.
Hmm.
That would be there with every each and every
Cloud.
cloud-based accounting software. Uh, Apart from that, I did not face much difficulties. I always adaptation would be there. Adaptation problems would be there for the people. But again, it's the part of the process. So yeah, transition may be a difficult part, may be the main pain point that I would say. But again, it's a process, so it goes with the
Hmm.
time. So
So to me, I think one of the biggest pain point is to kind of, train accountants to use this,
correct,
because accountants have a set way of doing this,
doing things.
and I think transition and unlearning, relearning is the
Yeah,
biggest part. But that being said, even certain, finer aspects like rounding off things, as you rightly mentioned, that there is a control
control.
which does not allow a JV to be passed for
Yes.
this, or anything कि अगर आपका 1 रुपया भी किसी से बाकी है, तो you can't kind of
Yeah.
set it off
Year in
against
adjustments.
anything, and you have to kind of raise an invoice or a debit note or a credit note, or it's a very complicated
Yeah.
process to set off rounding offs,
Yes.
and to that accountants get very annoyed,
Correct.
that, and those fussy accountants who can't handle the smaller
Things.
outstanding
Yeah.
things, they kind of just dislike it to a very personal extent, that this is
Yeah.
useless to that extent.
The year-end adjustments are a thing that is a major
Hmm.
pain point for us. See, as you said, the rounding offs, the inter-account adjustment, debtor to creditor entries,
Hmm.
that is there. So we cannot work for that.
Correct. So I think advance from a customer is kind of
Yeah. So that is there. But
so I think it's a good discussion. Now we'll just
yeah,
cut to a few questions that I have from your overall experience, right? So whom would you recommend cloud accounting apps like Zoho Books to? Like who are a sure short customer, मतलब जिसमें सोचना ही नहीं है कि भाई it's good for you.
yeah. So we have been working with many clients with Zoho Books, but in all, I would say the service industry is the target customer for the Zoho Zoho people to target to, and it is the best suited for the service industry. The main feature which I think we both missed is the timesheets. The
Hmm.
timesheets is such a feature, such a great feature of Zoho Books that the service industry requires, and service industry is a much in need of that feature. So service industry would be the main industry that I would recommend Zoho Books for. Not that the people with the manufacturing or trading business cannot adopt it, but yeah, it is easy for service industry to adopt Zoho Books.
So I think
So
for me the biggest easiest recommendation of this software is for any guy who is solo.
yeah,
Like if you are a solo practitioner, you are a professional, right? Like a lawyer or a chartered accountant, company secretary, or a consultant, or any of these professions, and you are a solo,
yeah,
hands down, you will not.
best thing.
This is kind of something that sends out email reminders to your clients, sends out
Yeah,
customer balances to your clients. All of it is in an automated mode, which
yeah,
means that you can kind of remind them for payments, etc. You can have all those efficiencies built in into your processes without having a person managing all of it. All of your admin tasks go away. For me, it's never a recommendation for a manufacturing company. Zoho
agree.
has itself on various blogs and places mentioned that we are not having a manufacturing support.
Yeah,
And for me, any ERP without a standard costing module cannot be applied by a manufacturing
Correct.
concern. So if you
Perfect.
do not have a standard costing module, just forget it. It then all of it is jugaad. It's kind of
Yeah.
just a workaround that you have for doing whatever you have to do with your accounts
Yeah.
for inventory, which is kind of that moves from raw material to semi-finished to finished, and all of those complications. These I have no experience with all the others, but at least I have broken my head across a few of these software, and I cannot say that this is
They are
kind
just
of
the adjustments.
completely, you can't just have this for them.
Yeah.
And for the others, I think one very important part from the Indian point is that the cash based accounting system.
Yeah.
Like Zoho says that, when you prepare a profit and loss account, you can prepare it either as per the cash base or the accrual base. This is kind of a very niche thing that it offers, because a lot of professional practitioners in the country follow cash basis of accounting
Yeah.
for the income tax act. So that's something that kind of is there, but I don't know how reliable it is, because I have never kind of applied it for anybody. And that's something that has to be taken with a pinch of salt. I wouldn't say that it is kind of there or not, but I think it was a great discussion. We look at
Yeah.
how this video gets a response and how people
Sure.
are interested to know more about Zoho books and in-depth discussion,
Yeah.
right? Like the smaller nuances. Then we can focus on smaller subsets, like even expenses as a subset, or purchases or sales or automations or flows or Zoho analytics or whatever all that we do. So I think it was a good discussion.
Yeah, even I think that the initiative taken by the KPC team for educating people is great, and I'm happy to be a part of this
Great, great.
podcast. And we look at the responses from from this for this video, and then we'll dig deeper into many other things that the Zoho has to offer. So yeah, thank you for
Sure.
having me.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll wrap it here,
Yeah,
and
okay.
great discussion. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.